Hello and welcome to week 21 of the Ray of Hope Crochet Along, and this week we're making the cone stitch. So cone stitch is also known as the angel wing stitch, and it makes this lovely sort of, well, it's a cone shape, but it makes these lovely lines that just look like wings as well. So how do we make it? So we're going to be using a 3.5mm hook for this one. And I've done the first 2 rows of the ray, so it's the same pattern as all the other rays. So you start with a foundation chain of 22, double crochet in the 4th chain from your hook, double crochet in each stitch across. Remember that turning chain counts as a stitch, so you'll have 20 stitches. The second row you're going to decrease down to 18 stitches. So let's get started on row 3. So rows 3 to 5 are rather boring. So you're going to turn chain 1, single crochet in the first stitch, and then single crochet in every stitch across. And you're going to do that for rows 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so you'll have 18 single crochet in each row. Okay, so we'll have 3 rows of single crochet by the time we finish row 5. So instead of boring you watching me make 3 rows of single crochet, I will come back when I get to the end of row 5, and in row 6 we'll start making our cones. Okay, so row 6, let's start our first cone row. So we turn, chain 1, and we're going to single crochet in the first stitch. And there. And we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches as well. There we go. So we're going to start our cones, and in this row we're going to have 12 cone stitches and 3 single crochet in either end. So I'm telling you this because once you've finished a cone, your next stitch can get hidden underneath, so it's just bear your stitch count for that row in mind when it comes to finding your next stitches. Okay, so to make our cone, yarn over and go into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over. Now we're going to go into the stitch directly below in row 4. Okay, so we're on row 6, here is row 5, and your stitch directly below is here in row 4. So yarn over and pull up a loop to the same height as the one you just did. Yarn over, and we're going to go into the stitch directly below that one in row 3. Then yarn over and pull up a loop. So you're going to have 7 loops on your hook. Then yarn over and pull through all 7 loops. And that is a cone stitch. So you get these lovely stretch loops all coming up. So we don't need to chain next to finish off, we're just going to go straight into our next cone stitch. So you might need to move that cone over. So my next stitch is here. So yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, go into the stitch directly below in row 4, so 2 rows below, then yarn over and pull up a loop. Always pull up your loops the same height as the very first one you did. Yarn over, go into the stitch directly below, so you've got 3 stitches in a row stacked on top of each other. Okay, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. 7 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 7 loops. And you get these beautiful cones. Okay, so we're working in rows 5, 4 and 3. So if I just stretch that, you can see you've got 1 hole here. So you go into loops first, then that second hole there. If I stretch again, you can see the next stitch directly below there. So they're roughly in a line. So next stitch, exactly the same, into the next one. But you can see how if you've got a really puffed up cone, it could hide the stitch next to it. Okay, so into the next stitch, pull up that loop. Directly below, 2 rows below, pull up that loop, and then directly below that, and pull up that loop. Yarn over, pull through all 7 loops. Okay, and they're just going to sit there quite nicely. If I turn over, you can see that they have the same kind of look on the other side as well. So it's a nice double-sided stitch. Okay, so I'm going to carry on with the cone stitches. You'll have 12 in total. And carry on making those, and I shall see you when I get towards the end of the row. Okay, so there's my 12 cones, and the last 3 stitches with single crochet. And there you go, 1 row of cone stitches. Okay, so rows 7 and 8 are rows of single crochet. So we turn, chain 1, single crochet in the first stitch, and single crochet in every stitch across. So you'll have 18 single crochet in rows 7 and 8. And you just make your single crochet on the top of every cone stitch. So I'll do those 2 rows, and I shall come back at the end of row 8. Okay, so I finished row 8. Row 9 is also a single crochet row, but we need to decrease. So turn and chain 1, and single crochet 2 together over the first 2 stitches. Go. And then single crochet in every stitch across until you've got 2 stitches left, and then single crochet 2 together over those last 2 stitches. So we're decreasing down to 16 stitches now. Small yarn, and then row 10 will be another cone stitch row. Just get to the end here. Right, and single crochet 2 together. Okay, so turn, chain 1, single crochet in the first stitch. Okay, so this is row 10, and single crochet in the next 2 stitches. And 2. Okay, so next is a cone stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, down to that stitch below, pull up a loop, and down to the next stitch below, and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all loops. So we had 12 cone stitches in row 6. In row 10 we're going down to 10 cone stitches. So cone stitch in every stitch across until you've got 3 stitches left. So I will come back to you once I get to the end of the row. Right, so it's the end of row 10. So I've got my 10 cone stitches, and I've single crocheted in the last 3 stitches as well. Okay, so turn, chain 1, and single crochet in every stitch across. So 11, 12 and 13 are all single crochet rows, and you just single crochet in every stitch. So you'll have 16 single crochet in each of these rows. So I shall do those 3 rows, and I shall come back to you at row 17. No. Am I row 10? Now I've lost track of my rows, haven't I? I've done 1, 2, 3, 10, 11, 12 and 13. Yeah, so I'll come back to you at the end of row 13, and row 14 is another cone stitch row. Okay, I shall see you then. Okay, so I finished row 13 and I got my 3 rows of single crochet. Row 14 is on the cone row. So you're going to turn, chain 1, single crochet in the first stitch, and single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So row 14 is a repeat of row 10. So we're going to make 10 cone stitches again in this row. Yarn over into the stitch, yarn over there and into there. Okay, so you'll have 10 cone stitches, the same as row 10, and then single crochet in the last 3 stitches. So I shall finish this and come back to you then. Okay, so that's the end of that row and our 10 cones. So the next 3 rows are single crochet, but row 17 is a decrease row. So in row 17 you're going to decrease with a single crochet 2 together on either end of the row, and that will bring you down to 14 stitches. Okay, so row 18 is another cone stitch row, and you'll have 8 cones. We always have 3 single crochet at both ends, okay, with our cones in the middle. Right, so we are going to have cones on rows 18, 22 and 26. And you're going to decrease on rows 17 and 25, and those are single crochet 2 together decreases. And your last row of cones will be row 26. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, because I'm sure you don't want to see me doing the same thing for the next several rows. Okay, and you'll always have 3 rows of single crochet between each set of cones. So I'm going to carry on with that, and I shall come back to you at the end of row 26. Okay, so I've got to the end of row 26 and I finished my last row of cones. So you can see I've got 6 cone stitches in this row. And now we go back to double crochet to finish the rest of the row. So row 27, turn, chain 1, make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch, and then double crochet all the way across. So we're going to double crochet in every stitch in the next 3, 4 rows. So rows 27, 28 and 29, sorry, so 3 rows. The row after that is a decrease row. So row 30 you're going to decrease. 3 rows after that it's double crochet in every stitch. What's going on here? Let's try that again. And you carry on the pattern from the previous rows. So your decrease rows for this row are rows 30, 34, 38, 42, 46 and 50. And you've got 51 rows in total. So I'll carry on with this and I shall see you when I get to the end of the row. Okay, so I finished my ray and we've got 6 rows of cone stitches, okay, and then we've got 51 rows in total for the rest of our ray. Okay, so for the slip stitch border you're going to add 1 slip stitch into the side of every single crochet row and 2 slip stitches into the side of every double crochet row. Remember that end point and the last row, you only do 2 slip stitches down one side and 1 slip stitch on the other. Okay, so you're going to end up with 78 stitches down one side and 77 down the other, and then it's 1 slip stitch into every stitch across the bottom, so you'll have 20 slip stitches there. Okay, so that is the cone stitch, and I shall see you next week for week 22. Bye for now.